Today we are speaking with Michael Kill, the CEO of the Nighttime Industries Association. The NTIA for short is the voice of the sector and works to increase awareness and understanding of its contribution and benefit. It seeks to influence the decisions of policymakers and ensure that the nighttime economy continues to flourish, supporting regeneration, creating jobs and enhancing the UK's international reputation. Welcome Michael Kill to Surviving 2020. Can you please give us some background on the NTIA and what your role is?
As you said, I'm the CEO of the Nighttime Industries Association. We represent the ecosystem of businesses, freelancers, production, festivals, events, nightclubs, dance music agents, live agents, etc. So every business that really inputs to the infrastructure from the front end all the way back to the bar staff and the people who are completely engaged in making the nighttime economy the success it is and the international phenomenon that is known across the world.
Michael, you are rigorously campaigning for Savenightlife and the nighttime economy, which is currently in crisis. You are launching this new campaign called Letusdance. Can you tell us a bit more about this, please?
Well, Letusdance came about because we had three announcements that came out last week. The arts and culture funding, which was released on the Sunday night just before the start of the week, which was due to be sort of targeting the arts and culture sector as a whole. And when it came to light, the narrative was very clear that it was to do with classical arts, more to do with theatres and large event spaces, and then as a footnote they put in live music venues, and there was an extraordinary amount of concern that electronic music and some of the sort of common creative arts were not included within that narrative, particularly from Oliver Dowden, MP, who had launched this with a great fanfare. Many people had questioned what the detail was, and they were sat there feeling slightly sort of disingenuous or disengaged to the fact that there was a massive part of the creative sector that had been missed and not included within that narrative. Hence the hashtag Letusdance campaign came to fruition. I mean, we sat back and we said, look, we can't allow ourselves not to be heard. There was a massive campaign under Let the Music Play, which was driven by the live music sector. And we felt that there needed to be a representation in terms of dance music, which included nightclubs, promoters, etc., agents. That needed to stand up and let people know that we are actively as important a part of arts and culture as live music, as the Royal Albert Hall, and some of those sort of treasures, as it was addressed, that needed to be sort of attended to. And we need to be able to have the same opportunity as them to apply for this funding as an art, to move things forward. And we felt quite aggrieved by the fact that we weren't part of that narrative. Hence the reason why a lot of us came together, the Association for Electronic Music, AIP, UK Music, ourselves, all came together and started discussing how we could create a campaign to highlight this and galvanise the industry under one header so that people understood how important it was to communities. And we've seen the importance from the perspective of some of the impact that having no nighttime economy has had on many of the communities, particularly the youth culture. I mean, we're sat here today, we're hearing of house parties that extend out in streets. We're hearing in Bristol and Manchester, some fantastic, amazing parties that are being put on by members of the public, because the reality is they're socially starved. They've been locked up for 16 weeks. They've now allowed to come out. They can come out very proportionate to their sort of household bubbles. And they're getting frustrated, and the feedback without that. I mean, bearing in mind that we should be in the middle of festival season at the moment, and they've not been given that opportunity to get out. So, quite rightly, we need to stand up. We need the government to realise that we need to be accounted for. We need to be able to access this funding, and we need to be recognised as an art form. And on top of that, the infrastructure that supports that art form needs an extended sector-specific financial package, including furlough, that is going to allow them to survive until a time when the government sees fit that we can open safely, and they can understand that, you know, we can open without social distancing. Because what's very, very clear as well is social distancing does not work within our sector. Whether you're a festival, whether you're a promoter, the business capacity that we're talking about under the current measures to keep people safe is just not viable for the businesses out there. So in the meantime, we need that further support, and we need that recognition in every quarter that we can find, whether it be arts and culture, whether it be the HMRC, however it is, to make sure that we have got that support moving forward. Because without it, we're going to lose a massive amount of businesses in the next 2 months.
There's already been 3 venues in the past week that have been lost, 2 in Manchester and 1 in Hull. And we're likely to see more of this. There doesn't appear to be a timeline as to when venues will be able to open and without those restrictive measures that are proposed at present.
No, and look, and I think those 3 are very profile venues that have been lost. There are many, many more people out there that have lost their businesses. They've lost their livelihood. You know, people have lost their jobs. You know, we've got some amazing entrepreneurs in this industry, and, you know, without some sort of roadmap map or understanding, I mean, how can you financially plan? How can you plan and tell your staff? You know, I mean, we're talking about furlough now from September, having to include, you know, any business has to pay 10% of the furlough costs. But if you're not open, how can you pay it? The same way that the VAT saving has no wet sales to it, and also you can't include admission money or admission fees. So from the perspective of claiming it back, I mean, that's set aside from the fact that you have to be open and taking revenue to save VAT anyway. You know, the government is obviously trying to corral people into a position where they will open. And the challenge that we have is we cannot open under the current measures. We want to open safely. Everyone wants to open safely, but we need to be realistic. The big change in narrative that we've seen in the last couple of days is it's gone from removing the risk to managing the risk. And that's given us a door that's slightly ajar where we can come in and we can propose different ways of us trying to reopen the sector. So we are working hard alongside a working group, including architects and the Institute of Epidemiologists, to get to a point where we can understand the layering of the way that this virus impacts our spaces, and see if there is a working model at around about 75% capacity, which tends to be the rate that people are able to open with some sort of viability. So there is a massive amount of work going on in the background, but we need the government to step up, give us some support in the short, because, you know, past August, we're going to lose possibly 50% plus of these businesses out there, which is a horrendous rate.
So what can people do right now for the Letusdance campaign? How can they get involved right now?
Well, the campaign is obviously started today. We've been pushing out on 2 mantles. One is a social media campaign, which is a blanket social media Letusdance campaign. The way that it works is you're able to personalize your campaign model or your visual with an overlay of Letusdance over the top of it. So you can post that with your own message, highlighting your own plight, the challenges that you have, whether you're a member of staff, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a business manager, licensee, freelancer. You can put your own plight across, which gives a personal message. The second part of this is you're able to email your MP. Emailing Oliver Dowden is not the best way to deal with this, because, as you can appreciate, it's white noise. There are a lot of messages going through to Oliver at the moment. The better way of doing this is to email your constituent MP at volume, and then they, in general, en masse, will go to the culture secretary and push the message that we're putting across. And you can do that through the links that we've been pushing out online. The last part about this, which we're doing internally alongside many people, is we're galvanising a lot of MPs to write to the culture secretary and the PM to ask him or urge them to consider the access to the Arts and Culture Fund for the electronic arts, in particular, nightclubs, etc., as establishments that are key to communities up and down the country, as well as understand that we need a sector-specific grant scheme and furlough extension that's going to allow some of these businesses to survive. You know, the September 10% and October 20% is not viable if we are not able to open until the middle of November, and we need that support as soon as possible. There are businesses now making a decision to close because they have none of these answers. It's vital that they come back with urgency, not just sit on their hands, not drip feed us with any information that's just ambiguous. We need detail, and we need detail as soon as possible.
Now, that letter to MPs, is there a template letter on the NTIA website that people can just take that template letter that's already pre-written, just amend it slightly and then forward to their local MPs?
That's right. So all you need to do is you go onto the website, which is through a link, you tap in your postcode, it will bring up all the contact details for your local MP through a pre-registered database. The letter is already pre-formatted, so it's got the bulk of a letter that has been pre-formatted by our Public Affairs Department. And then what you can do is you can top and tail it with information that you feel is pertinent to the campaign, but relevant to your individual case. And then all you need to do is just press send, and it goes straight to your MP, and you will get the response from your MP directly. So it's a really, really simple campaign. It's set up with minimum effort. You can do it in a couple of minutes and get this across, and it makes a massive impact. If we get thousands of people to do this, there is no choice but for those MPs to act, because within parliamentary rules, they have to act on any concerns that are being sent through from their constituents. It's part of their job requirement. So that's the important part of this, is understanding that by galvanising all of these MPs, we can make a massive impact by pushing them en masse to approach the Culture Secretary and the Prime Minister with the same message, but with some individual turns or fields of exactly the experiences that you have been through.
Well, I fully support the NTIA campaign, and I'll be writing to my local MP, and we are urging everybody who is part of this outstanding industry and protecting the nighttime economy, our venues, our arts and our livelihoods and the future of music in the UK to write to their MP and join this campaign.
Superb, thank you. And yeah, it's really worthwhile. It's the first time that our industry in general has stood up and made a difference. And the people that the level of support from yourself, Danny, and some of the industry sort of key figures out there has been phenomenal. And you know, that's so heartening in an environment that we have at the moment, that people have still got the energy and the positivity and understanding that they can make an impact. We just need to make sure that we galvanise as many people as possible, no matter if you're a member of bar staff all the way up to a multi-million-pound industry business owner. Let's just make sure that we're heard in all the right quarters.
Security, suppliers, all members of staff, and anybody who enjoys going out and enjoying music.
Fans are a key part of this. I mean, look, we can see the output from fans who are getting frustrated. You know, we can see staff who want to get back to work. You know, everybody, you know, as part of this industry makes it what it is globally. You know, the UK is known for its nighttime economy. You know, I spend a lot of time talking internationally to people about the nighttime economy in the UK. The last thing we want to see is for it to start to diminish because we've been poorly managed by a government that has got focus in different sort of areas. We need to be the focus now. We're the ones seen to be at the end of line, being missed out, dropping through the cracks. Let's not let that happen. Let's make a stand, get out there, stamp our feet, and let people understand how important we are to communities, the UK, and globally as an industry.
United we stand for Letusdance. That's hashtag Letusdance. Please go to the NTIA website, the Nighttime Industries Association website, and join this very important campaign. Michael Kill, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Danny. Really appreciate your time. And let's look forward to making this a success and making some changes.